real talk. All right. This is something like I want to talk about, like knowing your worth, right? And I feel like a lot of times this gets brought up in the context of like a relationship, right? Or like a romantic relationship, like you knowing your worth, like with your girlfriend or significant other or whatever the case may be. But I'm gonna talk about this more in the sense of like jobs and friends, because I had a recent experience where this kind of comes into play, right? So knowing your worth, like to me, at least the way that I interpret it in the context I'm gonna use it in this video, is like knowing obviously what you're worth, like your personal value, and more so using that knowledge of, okay, what is my personal value? What do I have to offer? And comparing it to like the respect and the recognition and stuff that you may be getting out of a certain situation. Right now, I'm not saying you need to like constantly look for recognition, because that's a really bad habit to get into. You don't want to be out here constantly seeking recognition. That's really bad. But if you feel like you're worth more than, I guess, you're like receiving in a certain situation, that's when you have to like really identify and be like, okay, is it time for me to step away from this situation? Is it time for me to distance myself here? Do I just need to have a conversation with this person or group of people and try and kind of like bridge that gap? And you have to assess what you're doing. But there comes a point in time where the time and effort you've put into something, after a long period of time, it's not giving you back what you should be getting back from the amount of effort and time and energy that you're putting into it, where you just have to say, all right, fuck that, I'm done, I'm pushing away, we're gonna go like this, we're distancing ourselves now. And that happened to me recently. Now, I had already, situation with like friends and job, right? This is like the same thing in one. I had two jobs, so I still have a job. I'm not like broke as fuck now. I'm still chilling. This other job was actually limiting my capabilities of making more money, and maybe I'll get into that in a second, but basically I'm making more money now. Anyways, this was a situation where this was basically like my main friend group and my fun job together. And I had to distance myself from both of those situations at the same time. Now, most of my friends were here. They didn't work with me, but it was at a martial arts gym, right? So I was teaching kids and adults classes. Most of my friends would participate in the adult classes with me, like when I would participate and I wasn't teaching. So yeah, that was basically like my entire social life outside of my other main job, which I don't really talk at. And over time, I was not getting like the recognition that I felt that I deserved. And especially as being like, I was, aside from like the owner of the gym, I was like the main coach there, right? For kids and adults. I was always like, if he wasn't around, it was me. I was the backup all the time. And I just never received any kind of like props, recognition, not even like thank yous, really. Like I was just expected to give my all and all and all, and I just felt like I was giving and giving and giving and putting so much energy in to this situation, and I wasn't getting hardly anything in return. The most noticeable thing that I was getting was financial, but even then, like the way that it was working out, because it didn't really align with my other job schedule, I would have to cut back on hours at my main job in order to work around the schedule at this job. So in the long term, I was losing money. I was just losing money. So the financial gain that I was getting from this was actually more of a negative, right? So the only positive, like real thing that I was getting out of this was, in the long run, in turn, actually just harming me. So I'm putting all this stress on myself, trying to move shit around for my schedule to make it work, trying to be like always there, do whatever I can to help people succeed, right? To help people do well in their competitions, all that shit. never getting any kind of recognition out of it. And I don't, like, again, I don't think it's good to go around like seeking recognition. But when you're at a place for multiple years and the recognition you get just decreases over time, I'm getting less and less and less and less. Hours are getting less depending on how much the gym was making at the time. Like, it was just, I wasn't getting the proper return for the amount of my time and energy that I was putting into that situation. So there's already all that, right? And then this is where I fucked up, okay? We're sparring. One of my teammates, he's like my friend, but like we talk shit to each other sometimes. And sometimes it's joking and sometimes it's genuinely like talking shit to try and piss the other person off, right? Now, I participated in that to a degree. I feel like this other person participated more. And they knew like I get pissed off about shit. So they know already, this is already established. So he's talking shit. And honestly, this day I just wasn't fucking having it. I snapped. We kind of got into it. We fought a little bit. Not really anything happened. People got in between us, right? Like, I'm not going to get into the full details of that situation, but it was on me. Like, I reacted to to being provoked from him, right? Like, I'm not saying like, should you talk shit to someone and not expect them to react? No, but it's still on me at the end of the day. Regardless of if he was like provoking me, the way that I handled that, it was out of line and out of proportion for the situation, right? So then that happened, and that was kind of just like the final thing for me, because after it got handled, like, again, am I more in the wrong? 100%, absolutely. But the way that it was handled, and I was just felt like I was being pushed out of the gym after that. And while I was more at fault, I wasn't the only one at fault in this situation. And multiple people have had problems with this person, right? It's not just me. And so the way that it was handled, I was just like, what the fuck? Like, I basically got suspended. He had no repercussions at all. Everybody was all pissed off at me. He continually, after the situation, continued to try and provoke me while I was trying to leave. And I'm the one getting painted as like a terrible person, piece of shit, whatever. So that was like the final fucking nail in the coffin, I guess, where I was just like, you know what? Fuck this shit. Because it really just like kind of opened my eyes, I guess. And it just pissed me off, right? Like, I was fucking mad. I'm not going to say that wasn't a part of it. So in that moment, I was like, no, I'm done. Like, I'm quitting. And did I think like maybe there was a chance of me going back? Yes, I did. But I was pretty confident I wasn't going to go back. And then coach texts me. He's like, yo, we need to talk before you can train or teach again. I was like, yeah, whatever. I did consider talking to him, right? But I was like, it's going to be a while before I could even fucking talk about this shit. And then this other dude is like starting drama by like DMing my fucking girlfriend over the situation, talking shit about it. And that just pissed me off. And other things of that nature happened to where I finally said, okay, this is taking more than I'm receiving for it. Like, not getting anything positive out of this. It's only causing me stress, because it's causing me emotional stress at this point because of the situation. It's fucking pissing me off. It's causing me a financial stress because I'm losing money trying to make my time work for this gym. And then all sorts of different kind of stress. It's adding negative things to my life. It's really not adding anything positive to my life, except maybe like fucking social situations. Anyways, point in case being, you need to know when your value overshadows what you may be receiving from a certain situation. So I know that distancing myself from that is more beneficial for me than staying in that situation. So as hard of a decision as it was to finally make the decision, like, okay, I put years of my life into this. I was going to try and make a career some way out of this. I stepped away from that. Right? And that was a hard fucking decision to make and a hard thing to come to terms with. But the way that things were playing out, my worth needed to be separated from that. It needed to be separate. So I separated from a job, potential career, friends, like some people who I had been friends with for multiple years. So again, it was a hard decision, but knowing my worth, I needed to separate myself from that situation. And honestly, like, it's been like a month and a half probably since this situation, and I've been feeling fucking fantastic. And I know that I don't need that for me to achieve something cool or be on some boss shit, right? Because I know my worth. I know, honestly, like, this is going to be some egotistical shit, but I'm better than a lot of the people there. Just in multiple ways, I find my worth higher than a lot of the people there. And the other people that were there that may have higher worth than me, I know potential-wise, I could be all the way up here and they could maybe be up here, right? Like, I'm not even tripping about that shit because I'm just gonna continue to level up and progress and boss up in this shit. And, you know, I've been really out here hustling, trying to make some shit happen. So again, in conclusion, I've said this like 3 times, but this is officially the conclusion. Knowing your worth is important, and knowing when you as a person need to do it out of respect for yourself to separate from a situation. Again, I'm talking about it in terms of like job or friends, but this is like in so many different situations. Like, and the most common way that this is referred to, I feel like, that I've heard, is in like romantic relationships with your significant other. So this can be applied in multiple other ways than just what I'm talking about. But know your worth.